Hello and welcome to the Safety Artisan, where you will find professional, pragmatic and impartial advice on all things system safety and related. We'll be talking about system requirements hazard analysis, and this is part of our series on Mil-Std-882E, 882 Echo, and it's a very widely used system safety engineering standard, found, and its influence is found in many places, not just on military procurement programs. So we're going to take a look at this task, which is very important, possibly the most important task of all, as we'll see. We're going to talk about in the task description the three aims of this task, which is to determine or work out requirements, incorporate them, and then assess the compliance of the system with those requirements, because of course it may not be a simple read across. Then there's just the task description. We've got 6 slides on that. That's most of the task. Then we just got 1 slide on contracting, which if you've seen any of the others in this series will seem very familiar. We've got a little bit of a chat about section 4.2 from the standard and some commentary, and the reason for that will become clear. The purpose of task 203, as it says, is to perform and document a system requirements hazard analysis, or SRHA. And as we've already said, the purpose of this is to determine the design requirements. So we've got to focus on design rather than buying stuff off the shelf. We'll talk about the implications of that a little bit later. So design requirements to eliminate or reduce hazards and risks, incorporate those requirements into, it says, into the documentation. So it's not just meant for you to think about certain phases of the program. What are the requirements through life for the system and in all modes, whether it's in operation, whether it's in maintenance or refit, whether it's being repaired or disposed of, whatever it might be. So first of 6 slides on the task description, and I'm using more than one color because there's quite a lot of important points packed quite tightly together in this description. So 2 things here: by identifying applicable policies, regulations and standards, etc. More on that later. And analysing identified hazards. So requirements to actually perform the analysis, as well as to simply just state, we want the system to do this and not to do that. So breaking those 2 requirements down. So the ultimate customer's requirements, including whatever they've said about standard ways of mitigating certain common risks. System performance spec, so there's your functional performance spec, or whatever you want to call it. Other system design requirements and documents, a bit of a catch-all there. And applicable federal, military, state and local regulations. So this is a US standard. It's a federated system, much like Australia, or indeed lots of modern states. Even the UK, there are variations in law across England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland. And in the US and Australia, those differences are greater. So a lot of words in there. Have a look at the different statements that are, in white, blue and yellow. Basically from international agreements right down to whatever requirements may be applicable